Encrid runs through the cave and says that he has a word from their boss, Roger. He knows that the enemy commander's name is Roger, because Recha mentioned it once in front of him. She talked about how Captain Roger wasn't doing his job properly. Encrid thinks that the cave is dark, so the enemy will have a tough time seeing his face and dress. Encrid shouts nonsense, saying that there are monsters in the city. The bowmen ask what he means by that. What did Commander Roger tell him exactly? Encrid thinks that these fools believe that he's one of them because he knows their commander's name. However, they'll realize soon that he's not one of them when he comes closer to them. Encrid becomes serious and gets ready to kill the soldier. He slices through one and thinks that by the time they would know who he is, it would be too late. The bowmen get taken aback and say that he's not one of them. He's an intruder. Other men quickly aim their crossbows, and Encrid gets ready as well. The man orders others to shoot, and Encrid grabs him by the collar. He takes the man as hostage and tells other to shoot him now, suckers. As Encrid draws the sword closer, and the bowmen aim their crossbows at Encrid, the hostage soldier tells everyone not to shoot. Encrid shouts and asks, "If aren't you dogs trained enough to take down a single man? Is this all theirs to them?" Torres and Pin look at Encrid from behind the cover and wonder why that idiot is provoking them. They wonder what they'll do if there are more enemies. Encrid provokes the enemy further, asking if their crossbow is just for the show. He claims that all of their heads are just for show. They should do something if their feet aren't made of lead. Pin thinks that she should better check for more enemies. Encrid shouts and asks if that's all their Captain Roger taught them. It's pathetic. Pin gets annoyed with our MC's constant shouting and thinks that she can't focus on anything else. Suddenly she realizes what Encrid is doing here. Encrid keeps on going that Roger can't be the leader of these idiots, and both parties remain in a standoff. The soldiers start panicking and ask each other what they should do. At the same time, Pin moves to their rear of the soldiers and gets close to an enemy. She cracks one of the soldiers' necks by taking advantage of all the noise going on in the cave. Torres also chimes in and kills an enemy in the rear while others are distracted. Pin thinks that darkness, confusion, and gibberish are the tools for hiding in the dark. She kills another soldier by stabbing him in the neck. She thinks that Encrid is a genius for coming up with such a great idea. The enemy notices that there are intruders behind them as well. However, it's too late for that, as Torres and Pin start killing enemies left and right. Among all the chaos, Encrid keeps talking nonsense, saying that the moon shirks from the oncoming darkness, and the sun rises to reveal the new dawn. Taking advantage of the distraction, Pin and Torres go all out. A soldier thinks that he can't take this anymore and aims his crossbow at Encrid. He fires the shot, but it hits the soldier that Encrid was holding as hostage. Once the cover is down, the soldiers charge forward and tells him to die. Encrid lets go of the hostage and gets ready for action. He thinks that he dragged out as long as he could have, and believes that it was enough. He throws his shuriken knives, and they hit the soldiers in the eyes. Encrid then quickly runs forward to meet up with his group, and Pin says that they must run to the exit. Soon enough, more enemy soldiers arrive at the scene. Encrid looks back and thinks that they are here, the main force of Roger's greyhounds. As Encrid was running, he shouts that he has a word from Recha. Roger remains stunned and wonders how this guy knows the mage's name. Using the split-moment distraction, Encrid and others make their escape. Roger brims with anger and thinks that this rat is using cheap tricks. He orders every one of his men to chase after them. Encrid's team keeps running forward and sees the exit in front. All of them make their way out of the cave while being closely followed by the enemies. Pin looks back and sees that they are still chasing them. She wonders where they should go to avoid them. Suddenly, Encrid shouts and tells Pin that they should head to their camp. Pin remains stunned and asks why there. Encrid replies that he has no time to explain, and they should better hurry up. Pin takes the lead and tells everyone to follow her. Encrid looks at the sun and thinks that it will set soon. He thinks of a plan and grips his sword tightly. He thinks that it's about time he called some of his buddies for help. He remembers one of his teammates telling him that there's a flat earth-colored stone near the Hanil River, and underneath those stones live vipers, which are very dangerous. Encrid impales his sword onto one of the rocks and hurls it at the enemy. The enemy defends against the rock and gets annoyed with his little tricks. Suddenly, a viper comes out of the rock, and the soldier becomes horrified on seeing it. Multiple vipers charge at the enemy, and this causes chaos in the enemy. Some enemies get bitten by the vipers, while some try to flee from there. Pin and Torres look back and wonder what those lunatics are doing there. If they are this loud, then it will draw the attention of the hounds near this area. Encrid smiles and thinks this is it. This was what he had planned earlier. Those big ears of hounds won't fail to hear this. Encrid's team makes their way through the cliff as the sun almost goes down. Encrid thinks that the moon has risen and it's almost time. Soon enough, the pack of hounds show up, and they howl under the moonlight. Encrid's group makes their way up the cliff while the hounds surround the ground below them. Encrid thinks that these monsters don't care what's in front of them, and they only want flesh and blood. As Encrid's team moves forward, Encrid tells Pin and Torres to move aside. Pin asks what he is saying. Torres asks if he's telling them to abandon him here. Pin also chimes in and asks where they would go without him. Encrid tells them to just go. He has a plan in mind, and they will just get in the way if they stay with him here. Pin and Torres agree to it and quickly move to one side, and our boy turns around to face the enemy. Roger says that they are splitting up. He orders one battalion of his men to chase after those two soldiers. The soldier points their spear at Encrid, and he gets to the end of cliff. Encrid thinks that the greyhounds and the wolves are in one place. Now, he can get them to fight each other to the end. He inhales deeply and thinks this is a diverging point. He needs to get the enemies to focus on him, so they don't go after Pin and Torres. For that, he needs to let out an immense killing intent, so strong that they can't focus on anything else. Encrid then unleashes his killing intent, and Captain Roger takes notice of it. The hounds below the cliff also notice Encrid's killing intent. Roger thinks that this man is dangerous and must be killed immediately. He orders his man to return and target him first. At the same time, the hounds start climbing the cliff while Encrid is at the edge of it. Soon enough, the hounds jump up from Encrid's behind, and our boy quickly notices that they are here. He quickly evades the hound's attack, and the attack hits one of the soldiers. Encrid thinks that friend or foe doesn't matter now, as only chaos will ensue. The hounds start breaking through the spearmen's ranks, killing each other in the process, and our boy stands aside, witnessing his brilliant plan unfold.